So we're really excited, and personally, I'm very excited for you to be here because
Thank you.
I really admire all the things that you've done
Thank you.
in your career. So let's start
Okay.
with the business.
Okay.
Tell me how'd you start? How did you know that cuddling was going to be your vocation?
Okay, I laugh a lot these days, but it wasn't always like that. Years ago, I found myself single, very, very busy, in LA, and also finding myself feeling really lonely. And I think I'm like a lot of people, where I thought that the only way for me to connect, if I wanted to connect or get physical affection, it had to be through a sexual experience. And I think this is sort of common. I don't think I'm the only one. And so there was a time when I was on a business trip. I was in Honolulu, which sounds really dramatic, right? It sounds really glamorous. But I was feeling very lost, very desolate. And so I attached myself to somebody. I invited myself to dinner with somebody, and I hung out with them all night, and really I hijacked this man's whole evening. And I pushed a sexual experience because I was looking for after. I wanted to cuddle, I wanted to spoon. And this is sort of a bottom moment. I said, let's spoon. After the mediocre sex was over, and he's like, I won't do that. And I'm like, excuse me? I mean, I was quite shocked because I'd like worked for 4 hours to get to this point. And he's like, that's something I would do with a girlfriend. I've got to go. And I was like, oh, don't. And what I realized that night, which was, it's not, I'm not super proud to talk about it because it felt humiliating at the time. I learned that I have needs for affection and connection. And that I thought that the only way to get there was through a sexual experience, but that these things can be separate. That I could want to connect and have deep conversation and share loving touch, like hand-holding or an embrace, and not need the sexual experience. I'm happy. I'm a sexual person, like many of us are, most of us are, and that's certainly a way to express myself and to get connection. But there's this whole other world that I realized once I attended an event that included cuddling. Was like, this is for me. I was so much happier, so much more joyful. I started Cuddle Sanctuary because I couldn't find enough of these events in the LA area. And now I have the connection and the laughs, the fun that I'd always wanted. And it just keeps getting better because my community is filled with people who know what this is, this thing called cuddling.
That's an amazing story. So, Cuddle Sanctuary.
Yes.
How did you, when you first started, did you think that this was going to be something that would be taken well by the LA community? Like if you thought, like if you started this somewhere else, like maybe in a different city, do you think that the people of LA were more open to this than another city?
Well, I should explain that Cuddle Sanctuary existed years after, I would say the pioneers of this movement are people who created Cuddle Party. Have you ever heard of Cuddle Party? Cuddle Party, these folks started this work over 10 years ago in New York City. And they got so much press coverage because people couldn't believe that groups of human beings would come together, wear PJs, and connect and cuddle and hug each other without there being any sexual connotation connected to it. So anyway, these are our colleagues. Cuddle Party still exists. And I already knew that people around the country and across the globe would like this. Now, if I were to put this in another city, would it be as welcome? Maybe not. But I will tell you, even in Los Angeles, the door of Cuddle Sanctuary, when people come to our events, it's many people cannot get through the door. And what I mean by that is there are people who are longing for a connection, who desperately want a hug, who are craving it, and some haven't been touched for years. And they can't give themselves permission to come. Or there are some obstacles, like they're afraid. There are a lot of different reasons that people don't come, and when they do step through sometimes it takes a person a year in order to just show up. They're so glad they did. My goal is to take a group of strangers and transform them to be a group of people who can connect and talk deeply and maybe even cuddle within a couple hours. So it's an alchemy that I'm really proud of, and it doesn't happen by accident. It's a very careful structure.
All right, we'll be right back.